Sundays are meant for sports. You've got the Super Bowl, the Masters, and the California Winter League Championship game, which is today at Palm Springs Stadium between the 5th-seeded Manitoba North Stars and the 4th-seeded Washington Blue Sox. Good afternoon and welcome into sunny Southern California for the CWL Championship Game 2023 edition. Alongside Evan Schmeiser, I'm Jacob Kronberg, and boy, are we excited to have you along. It's the North Stars and the Blue Sox. They've played upset. They've played spoiler the whole way through the postseason, and they're ready to battle it out for the crown today. Trey Morrill on the mound for Manitoba. He'll face James Cross, the Blue Sox designated hitter, to lead off. It's James Cross, Michael Bucchino, and Mitch Morales due up in the top of the first from Palm Springs Stadium. Trey Morrill out of the windup, first pitch fastball on the outside corner for a called strike one, and we are underway at 12:01 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. 0-1 pitch from Morrill misses inside, and the count evens up. "71 degrees and sunny is the temperature in Palm Springs as Morrill deals home and misses low. He falls behind the leadoff man Cross, 2 balls and 1 strike. The North Stars with the dark blue tops, white bottoms. Manitoba written in red with the old Expos M on the front of the jerseys. White numbers on the back. 2-1 breaking ball hits James Cross. Had began his swing path through, and the breaking ball came and hit him on the front side, and the leadoff man aboard for the Blue Sox.
And we're used to seeing that sharp breaking ball from Trey Morrill, but did not have the command of it right there. He started it way too far inside. Nothing that Cross could have done to try and get out of the way of that pitch.
Morrill has been incredible this year. One of the horses for the North Stars pitched just 2 days ago. Went the distance in the play-in game against the Toronto Rush in what was a 6-1 victory for Manitoba. He now pitches out of the stretch from the third base side of the rubber. First pitch slider misses low to Michael Bucchino, the Washington shortstop, hitting .333 on the year.
It'll be monumentally important today for North Star manager Brian Kloppe. What does he see out of Morrill? What does his command look like? How is his velocity going to be on short days rest?
Morrill kicks and goes and misses low once again. Evan, you mentioned the short rest. That's going to play an impact on this game. The team, the North Stars, coined the North Stars aligning coming into this playoffs, led by manager Brian Kloppe as the lowest overall seed coming out of the Canadian division. The 2-0 in at the knees for a called strike. But this team we knew all year long had really good pitching at the top of the rotation in Trey Morrill and Brett Taucher. Not only did they perform in their first 2 starts, they both went the distance in spoiler W's. Short lead for Cross off first, and the 2-1 fouled back into the netting. Count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We look at Morrill's numbers on the year. 2 wins and 2 losses and a .238 earned run average. Pitched 32 1/3 innings over just 6 games and struck out a whopping 54 batters. He's got 2 strikes on Bucchino here. Bet high set, he delivers home, and the slider misses up. Not a ton of feel on that traditionally sharp breaking ball from Trey Morrill early.
Yeah, we've already seen he hit James Cross on a breaking ball. He's missed high. He's missed low. He'll need that breaker.
Payoff pitch is upstairs, ball 4. And the first 2 men have been granted free bases from Trey Morrill. With Cross now on second, Bucchino on first. There's nobody out, and Mitch Morales coming to bat.
And that 3-2 pitch, Morrill went with a fastball, but just completely lost it. It was way upstairs, not a competitive pitch by any means, not a whole lot of life on the fastball either. He desperately has to get ahead of Morales in this at-bat.
Morrill is going to have to bear down early. The wind blowing right to left across the outfield, and nothing but blue skies above. Morrill works from the third base side of the rubber. Hand set just below the letters. Short leg kick, and the first pitch bounced foul on the left side for strike 1.
That's huge that he's able to work ahead in the count to Morales. Now that hopefully can give him a little bit of confidence to work in those secondary pitches, whether in the strike zone or even to try and get a chase. One good batter should be able to get Morrill going from a confidence perspective.
And the pitch you'll notice that shows he's on that roll is that front door slider. Loves to get it in for an early strike. His 0-1, there's a sweeper that swung on and missed for strike 2. Brett Donady guards the line at third. Shaded up the middle is the second baseman, Denver Blinn. The outfield, however, posted up to the opposite field against the right-handed hitting Morales, who hit .349 this year, drove in 7 runs. Morrill stands tall on the mound, checks cross at second. 0-2, rolled over to short. Chaupinot has it to second for 1. The turnover to first. In-time double play. Just when Trey Morrill needed it most, he gives the fist bump of approval. And a chance to escape the early jam. James Cross now at third, and he's got to get through the Blue Sox cleanup man, Alejandro Lara.
To call that a huge play for Trey Morrill would be a huge understatement. Back-to-back, he made excellent pitches to get the swing and miss on the slider out of the zone, by far his best breaking ball of the inning. Able to get Morales out in front of another fastball. I wasn't sure if they'd be able to roll the double play, but able to make it happen.
Quick turn at second from Blinn, who's got a really good arm. First pitch swinging Alejandro Lara. He lofts it into straightaway left. Taylor Lomack comes in, staggers under, and makes the catch to end the inning. The first 2 men reach for Washington, but nothing to show for it thanks to the 6-4-3 double play ball. We're through half an inning of play. Scoreless between the Blue Sox and the North Stars. Manitoba coming to bat with Taylor Lomack, Denver Blinn, and Nick Penzetta after this on the CWL YouTube. No score between the Washington Blue Sox and the Manitoba North Stars as we get set for the home half of inning number 1. Manitoba due up to bat for the first time in this championship game, and the lineup Brian Kloppe goes with looks like this.
We'll start off with Taylor Lomack. He'll be followed by Denver Blinn. Nick Penzetta will bat third. Daniel Youngblood is in the cleanup spot. Cole Brodnansky, the catcher, hits fifth, followed by Taz Worrell, the designated hitter. Yen Heng Wu will bat 7, playing first base. Xiaopin Ho hits 8th. Brett Donady will round out the order for the Manitoba North Stars.
This is a team that struggled offensively at the start of the season. Have picked it up in the postseason, and it really starts at the top of the order with Lomack, a .386 hitter, the CWL stolen base champion with 18 of them.
He's absolutely a guy you need to keep off the base pass. For the most part, the Grizzlies were able to do that. Just a round to go. First test for the Blue Sox.
First pitch for Jacob Tate on the outside corner for a called strike 1. Tate, a 6'4" right-hander from Cummings, Georgia. He works out of the windup and delivers home, missing inside, ball 1. A slim, lanky right-hander is Tate, the newest signee of the Evansville Otters in the Frontier League. He'll be going to spring training with them shortly after the conclusion of the CWL. Staggered stance on the mound, begins his slow motion home, and the 1-1 is in the dirt, ball 2. Two and 1 the count to the leadoff man, Lomack. Tate kicks and goes. 2-1 popped up right side of the infield. Rucker comes in, now retreats a step, and secures the catch with two hands for the first down of the inning.
Well, Jacob, we talked about in the opening frame with Trey Morrow going on just 2 days rest after throwing 100 pitches to open the postseason. We have a guy in Jacob Tate, though, on the mound. The last time he pitched, it was 5 days ago. He only went an inning. The last time he really went deep into a game was 8 days ago, back on the 11th, going 6 innings. So a guy with a lot of rest, and that's another situation where you're not always sure what you're going to get out of the gate.
Serving as the starter today, he does have the ability to give you some depth and eat up some innings, as the first pitch to Denver Blinn is fouled back into the netting for strike one. Tate with that 1-2-1 earned run average, a pretty good strikeout arm as well, 25 of them in 17 and a third innings. He works angled toward the third base dugout. Wheels and deals, the 0-1 slider offered at by Blinn for strike two. A look around the Blue Sox defense. Tate on the mound. Taylor Maldonado is his battery mate. Calvin Rucker at first. Mitch Morales, the second baseman. Michael Bucchino plays short. And Alejandro Lara mans the hot corner. Tate's 0-2. Blinn tried to check his swing and could not. Down on strikes. He gets away from Maldonado, but Blinn gives himself up for out number two. The Blue Sox outfield left to right. Malcolm Smith, Killian Bloat, and Aaron Gex, a team that barely escaped the chill and their potential late-game heroics that they've pulled off all year long yesterday.
And not to mention a game where the Blue Sox committed 4 errors. Not used to seeing a team do that and come out with the win.
First pitch swinging is Nick Panzetta, and he chops the fastball foul behind home plate. The Blue Sox with deep blue tops, white bottoms, Blue Sox written in white script across the chest. White numbers on the back of the jerseys. Gray caps, black brims with the California Winter League logo on the front. Tate out of the windup. 0-1 fastball misses in. The defense relatively straight up against Panzetta. The center fielder Bloat does play deep, but that's traditionally where he positions himself. Tate rocks and fires and gets Panzetta to chase a fastball up for strike two.
Really excellent sign early. We've already seen Tate get a chase on that breaking ball down, and he gets a swing at a high fastball.
Peers in for the sign, ahead 1-2 in the count. Breaking ball, poked foul into the seats on the right side, and a nice catch by the gentleman with the salmon hat.
That might be the best play we've seen all season from a fan in the bleachers.
Haven't seen too many clean catches.
Well, Jacob, we are packed at the moment with people continuing to file in, so people are going to have to be on their toes with the ball coming into the stands.
Count remains 1-2 to Panzetta, who crowds the plate and chokes up with 2 strikes. The next 1-2, slider, waved at and missed, strike 3. Squeaky clean first inning for Jacob Tate. He strikes out a pair, and we're through 1 inning of scoreless baseball between the Blue Sox and the North Stars. Going to inning number 2 on the CWL YouTube after this. It was a slow start to the game for Trey Morrill on the mound, allowing the first two men to reach in the opening inning. He settled in and pitched a scoreless first, looking for more of that here in the second as he faces Aaron Gex, the left-handed hitting outfielder for Washington, who swings over a slider for strike one. Manitoba, counting their playoff run, 8-8-1 on the year, but as aforementioned, the 5 seed of 5 teams entering the Canadian Division playoffs. Gex squares to bunt, couldn't pull it back in time as he offers at the changeup for strike two.
We saw back-to-back off-speed pitches from Morrill to open this inning. He's got it working at the moment.
Ahead of Gex, 0-2, a lot of ways to go. Slow motion home, the 0-2 fastball in the dirt. And picked out by the catcher, Cole Brodnansky. A look around the rest of the Manitoba defense. Yen Heng Wu at first, Denver Blinn and Xiaopin Ho up the middle, with Brett Donady at third. Morrill's 1-2. Fastball just misses low and away. And the count evens up. Brodnansky held it for an extra second there behind the plate. Outfield is Taylor Lomack, Nick Panzetta, and Daniel Youngblood left to right. Morrill kicks and delivers, and the curveball chopped foul off the front ankle of Aaron Gex. And he's down on his knees shaken up. Cole Brodnansky, the catcher, checking on him, and he'll hop straight from the knees back to his feet. A flare for the dramatic early as Gexel mosey around home plate and readjust the shin guard.
Yeah, that's as good of a sign as anything you'll see after he initially goes down. I was never a big fan of wearing the shin guard back when I was a hitter. It seemed like every time I tried to wear it, I'd still foul it off myself, but in a place where the shin guard isn't covering anything. But as far as the swings we're seeing and even the takes we're seeing from Gex, he's trying to guess on Morrill. He's not guessing correctly. We saw a take on a close fastball. I think he was looking breaking ball and absolutely fooled on that slider running down and in. That's why I fouled it off his leg.
2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Morrill out of the windup. The pitch swung on and missed, strike 3. Beat him with the low fastball, and that's strikeout number 1 for Trey Morrill, but I'm sure we expect a few more of those today.
I have a good feeling about that as well, Jacob. There's a good chance the Blue Sox will be kicking themselves later on for not cashing in on that first inning with a leadoff hit by pitch followed by a walk.
Morrill, not a guy you want to let settle in. We mentioned the complete game in the first round of the playoffs, as his fastball to Calvin Rucker is fouled back into the netting for strike 1. Wind blowing out towards center field. The 0-1 curveball misses up. Calvin Rucker hitting .226 on the year. Has been the everyday first baseman in the postseason for Jimmy Johnson's bunch. Slider hangs upstairs, now 2-1 to Rucker. The Blue Sox, who had the worst regular season record of any team in the CWL, has stunned their opponents here in the postseason as the fastball runs up and in. 3-1 to Rucker. Wins over the first-seeded Oregon Lumberjacks and second-seeded Palm Springs Chill in the American Division. Morrill's 3-1. Lifted out toward right field. Daniel Youngblood moving in and to his right. Lines it up and makes the catch for out number 2. So after the first 2 men reached against Morrill via the hit by pitch and walk, he's retired 4 straight.
And Jacob, just to piggyback on the journeys from both teams to get here, the Blue Sox are truly a wild story to me. This is not a team as far as the top of the rotation. They weren't the most overpowering staff through the regular season, whereas with the North Stars, we did kind of see that possibility coming.
The Blue Sox clicked at the right time as
They
Morrill
did.
misses up to Malcolm Smith for ball 1. Trey still struggling to throw consistent strikes. There's one right on cue as he blows a fastball past Malcolm Smith for strike 1. Smith hitting .321 with a .345 on base percentage. The 1-1 slider misses beneath the knees, ball 2. In that first inning, Trey Morrill threw 14 pitches, 7 strikes, 7 balls. the guy who's usually filling up the strike zone. His 2-1 misses upstairs, and another 3-ball count issued by the big right-hander.
And just all these deep counts, it's driving up Morrill's pitch count. And that's what you want if you're the Blue Sox. You want to get him out of this game as quickly as you can.
The 3-1 home swung on and missed, and the count works full. Morrill walked just 7 batters in 32 1/3 innings this regular season. The payoff pitch swung on and missed, strike 3. Couple of punch outs in the inning for Morrill as he works a 1-2-3 top of the second inning. We remain scoreless. Bottom 2 coming up on the CWL YouTube. No score between the Blue Sox and the North Stars as we begin the bottom of the second inning from Palm Springs Stadium. Jacob Kronberg and Evan Schmeiser bringing you the 2023 CWL Championship game. The heart of the order due up for Manitoba. It's Daniel Youngblood, who crowds the plate in the righty box against Jacob Tate, who works out of the windup. First pitch laced down the left field line and down for a hit. Cut off on one hop by Malcolm Smith and fired in quickly. But it's the first hit for either side, a leadoff single for Daniel Youngblood here in the second.
That's truly a loud way to get things started if you're Youngblood and Manitoba. He went right after that first pitch fastball. He got it up in the zone, a bit in. He loves to pull his hands in, and that was a rocket.
95 miles per hour off the bat of Daniel Youngblood. And a chance for Cole Brodnansky with a man on base. Brodnansky, potentially the hottest hitter in this North Stars order, working on a 6-game hitting streak. Tate out of the stretch for the first time today. First pitch, Brodnansky bounces it to third. Laura to second for one. Morales to first. Double play. First pitch of the inning, a man gets on. The second pitch, Tate gets them both. Each defense has now turned a clean double play, and all of a sudden 2 outs, nobody on in the bottom of the second. No score between Manitoba and Washington as Taz Worrell steps to the dish.
The infield defense has been huge for both of these teams on their way to the championship game, especially the Blue Sox turning multiple double plays against the Chill in the previous round.
This is a Blue Sox team that was just 7th in fielding percentage throughout the regular season, as Jacob Tate misses low with a fastball to Taz Worrell.
Even out of the gate, the Blue Sox were horrific defensively for a little while. But they really have cleaned it up. You have to give them a ton of credit.
Tate works out of the windup, high leg kick, and he fires a fastball on the outside corner for strike 1 called.
Also, how about Alejandro Lara? That was a really quick turn. He can really pick it over there.
And we've got a couple of second basemen in this game with really strong arms. 1-1 swung on and missed for strike 2. Both Denver Blinn of the North Stars and Mitch Morales of the Blue Sox play some short and third and have enough juice in that arm to convert the double play when you think it's going to be close or maybe not possible. Tate ahead 1-2. Pauses on the way down. Slider swung on and missed. Worrell tried to check his swing, but he went around, says home plate umpire Steve Bartelstein. Another inning where Jacob Tate faces the minimum, although he allowed a leadoff hit to Daniel Youngblood. Scoreless through 2 between the North Stars and the Blue Sox on the CWL YouTube. Eight, 9-1, 2 up in the order for the Washington Blue Sox. As we begin the third inning of play, Jacob Kronberg and Evan Schmeiser live from Palm Springs Stadium for the CWL Championship game. We are scoreless through 2 innings of play. Trey Morrill works out of the windup, and his first pitch slider is waved at and missed for strike 1 to the Blue Sox center fielder, Killian Bloat. Bloat hit his first home run of the season yesterday, which ended up being the difference in the win over the Chill, a 6-5 victory. Morrill's curveball misses low, 1-1 the count. Both pitchers work quickly on the mound as Morrill begins his motion home, and another sharp slider swung on and missed for strike 2. We've talked a lot about the strikeouts versus walks for Trey Morrill. 54 strikeouts, just 7 walks entering play. He's about 50-50 strikes and balls right now on the pitch count. 1-2 curve cued down to first. Gloved by Wu, he'll toss to a covering Morrill, who beats Bloat down the line for out number 1.
The big difference for Trey Morrill, Jacob said, he's really found that slider. We saw like a really sharp one in that previous at-bat that kind of resembled a cutter, and then more of the big breaking slider riding down and out of the zone. If Morrill's able to continue to pitch backwards and really mix things up, because his fastball is it's not at his best compared to what we have seen from him, but keeping everyone guessing with the movement and the speed will make a huge difference for him.
This is a guy who threw 90-plus pitches and is working on 2 days rest. He throws a fastball past Taylor Maldonado for strike 1. Corner infielders hug the lines. Outfield shaded to the right side against Maldonado, who's got a crouched stance in the righty box. Morrill's 0-1, lifted foul out of play behind home plate. Through 3 games, Manitoba has used just a handful of pitchers. 0-2 misses outside.
Looked like he just overthrew that fastball a little bit. He got a late swing from Maldonado on that previous foul ball. Ended up just spiking that previous fastball.
1-2 slider, and just catching a piece of it is Maldonado, and it caught Brodnansky. One catcher to another, and Maldonado is going to tend immediately to Brodnansky. As we saw, Cole Brodnansky due to Aaron Gex of the Blue Sox.
Yeah, it's a tough position, to say the least. And Taylor Maldonado at the plate, I'm sure he's had his share of foul balls ricocheting off of him.
We saw Brodnansky take a tough one off the helmet yesterday as well, as he gets a round of applause from the crowd as he's up to his feet. Most of these catchers have caught virtually every day for the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, you have to give them a ton of credit. Very few days off, and sometimes even some very long innings every once in a while. And it adds up.
And Manitoba versus every other team in the tournament due to the fact they were in the play-in game. This is the 4th consecutive day with a game. Meanwhile, the Blue Sox played on Thursday, had Friday off, played Saturday, and now today. No score, top of the 3rd. 1-2 the count to Maldonado. Morrill kicks and goes. Ground ball hit out to short. Gobbled up by Xiaopin Ho. Long throw from behind the second base bag. Gets Maldonado for out number 2.
Goodness, Xiaopin Ho is just so smooth out there at the shortstop position. It looked like for just a moment he wasn't sure if he wanted to kind of stay up anticipating a bad hop, but he was able to get his glove down just at the last moment. We've seen a lot of other shortstop out here, with the way the dirt can be, end up kicking that ball.
2 down, nobody on for the top of the Blue Sox order, and James Cross, who goes after the first pitch, popping it foul. Into the bleachers on the third base side. Cross hit by a pitch to begin the ball game. We're still scoreless, top of the 3rd inning, but it looks like Trey Morrill has settled down. The infield shades to the pull side against Cross as Morrill works through the windup and misses outside with a fastball, ball 1. Defense has been a strength of Manitoba. They have the 3rd best fielding percentage in the CWL. 1-1 in the dirt, and Morrill falls behind another hitter. I had mentioned the limited pitching used by Brian Kloppy's bunch through the first 3 games. It took just 4 arms to go through 21 innings of baseball. Comebacker, gloved by Morrill. Turns and tosses to first, getting Cross, and another 1-2-3 frame for Trey Morrill and the North Stars. No score through 2.5. We go to the bottom of the 3rd after this on the CWL YouTube. Washington starter Jacob Tate has cruised through the first 2 innings. And looks for more of the same here in the 3rd. He faces Yen Hang Wu and pours a fastball into the zone for a called strike 1. Scoreless between Manitoba and Washington in the CWL championship game. Jacob Tate continues to work out of the windup and gets Wu to offer at a breaking ball down and in for strike 2. Alongside Evan Schmeiser, I'm Jacob Kronberg, and thank you so much for spending your winter season with us on the CWL YouTube. Tate stops on the rock back. 0-2, slider, Wu tried to hold up. He couldn't. Ball in the dirt. Maldonado will apply the tag. And Yenheng Wu down on strikes and is the 4th strikeout victim of Jacob Tate already.
He looks excellent so far, Jacob. And I did mention at the top of the broadcast, I'd be curious to see how Jacob Tate looks with all the extra rest he's had. So far, it looks like the rest is paying off. He has everything working.
All 3 pitches sharp to start for Jacob Tate. He faces Xiaopin Ho, who golfs the first pitch foul over the bleachers on the right side for strike 1. Tate sitting around 88, 89 miles an hour with the fastball, has touched 90 a couple of times. Tall stance in the box for Xiaopin Ho as Tate delivers outside with a fastball. Right on right the matchup. With the wind swirling out towards center field. 1-1. Shot up the middle and through into center field for a base hit. Killian Bloat tosses it in as Xiaopin Ho rounds first, then retreats. And it's the second hit of the game for Manitoba, this time via Xiaopin Ho's single up the middle.
And it's a good piece of hitting from Xiaopin Ho. They didn't try to do too much with it. He got good will on the ball and shot it back up the middle. And if you're Jacob Tate, not a big deal by any means. You're going to have a few of those when you're attacking the strike zone as aggressively as he is. And some of the time, the ball will be able to find a fielder. That time just ended up into the hole in the middle of the infield.
Got to bear back down and get through Donity here before the top of the order comes up. Taylor Lomack looms on deck. Tate with a slide step and finds the upper crust of the zone with a fastball for strike 1. Another beautiful day in Southern California, as we've had probably 98% of the time we've been down here through the months of January and February. 0-1 off the end of the bat, foul. And Jacob Tate right back to filling up the strike zone. No score between the North Stars and the Blue Sox in our 9-inning championship bout. Hugging the line at third is Alejandro Lara. Calvin Rucker, the first baseman, holds on Xiaopin Ho. Shoulder high set for Tate. And the 0-2 fouled back into the netting once again.
Jacob, we're still waiting on the first foul ball to get into either of our booths. Andre's right next door in the PA booth. He was ready for one, or at least he acted like he was.
We've been close, but all the close ones have gone toward the roof, so we don't really have a shot to even reach out. Tate slides home, slider, swung on and missed, strike 3. Nasty pitch from Jacob Tate, who picks up strikeout number 5 for the second out of the third inning.
And with all these right-handed bats in the North Stars lineup, that slider from Tate has been electrifying. I mean, that previous slider might have been 2 feet outside, but all sorts of late movement. That's why you get that swing from Donity.
And Tate is a tall, skinny, lanky guy who throws a lot of arms and legs at you coming home, as the first pitch to Taylor Lomack is sliced foul toward the batting cages on the right side. No score between the Blue Sox and the North Stars. Each side has had a pair of base runners, although it's Manitoba with the 2 hits. 0-1 the count to Lomack, who popped up on the infield dirt his last time through. Xiaopin Ho leads off first, but Tate works home, and Lomack lifts one into left field. Moving toward the line, Malcolm Smith shading the sun with his glove, and he makes the one-handed catch to end the inning. Jacob Tate works around a 1-out single from Xiaopin Ho and matches Trey Morrill's 3 scoreless innings. It's the Blue Sox 0 and the North Stars 0. We go to the 4th on the California Winter League YouTube.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We move into the top of the fourth inning in a scoreless championship game between the Manitoba North Stars and the Washington Blue Sox. Trey Morrill getting back to work in his fourth inning. Allowed the first two men to reach in the game via hit by pitch and a walk. As the first pitch from Mike Bucchino is smoked in the right center field for a base hit. Over to get his Penzetta as he fires it into the cutoff man. Bucchino, who walked his only appearance in the first, records the first hit of the game for the Washington Blue Sox with no outs in the fourth.
Washington saw the command struggles for Trey Morrill over that first inning and decided to have a patient approach. Now that Morrill's kind of found his groove, he is a guy you do not want to get in a two-strike hole against. So I like Bucchino going after the first pitch. I think Morales is going to try and do something of a similar sorts with the big bats coming up.
The heart of the lineup is absolutely coming up with Morales in the 3-hole. Coming into today, hitting .349. Sits someone softly out to shortstop. Chapino gloves it, flips the second for one. Over the first, in time. Back-to-back at-bats, Mitch Morales bounces into a 6-4-3 double play. Bucchino recorded the first hit of the game for the Blue Sox a moment ago. He is erased on just one pitch.
It's one thing to throw hard and have great stuff. You get those swings and misses. But the really good pitchers, they get outs. And 2-for-1s, you'll take those all day.
And the way this middle of the North Star infield is going, you're going to feel confident. As the first pitch fastball to Lara is taken high 1-0. He flew out to left his only at bat. Came into today hitting an even .300. As he comes up empty, looked like a bit of a slower fastball towards the outer half. A little bit of cut on it.
And we've seen less of that front door slider from Morrill and more of the chase pitch.
The 1-1 out of the windup, chopped weakly up the third base line, foul. Lara out in front of another pitch. Well, you have Morrill on the mound, who hit cross to start the game, walked Bucchino. Morales initially hit into a 6-4-3 double play. Morrill retired the next 8 batters after that, with Bucchino breaking that stretch with a single to start the inning. As Lara goes around on a fastball towards the inner part of the plate, tried to check his swing. Trey Morrill working quickly. He is excellent through 4 on 2 days rest in the championship game. We're through 3.5 at Palm Springs Stadium. No score between the North Stars and the Blue Sox. We trek on, CWL faithful, into the bottom of the 4th inning. It'll be the 2, 3, and 4 batters for the Manitoba North Stars. Denver Blinn, Nick Penzetta, and Daniel Youngblood. Jacob Tate back to work. Scattering just a couple hits, no walks. But he's been efficient and extremely clean as he delivers a first pitch fastball on the outside corner to Blinn, who struck out his only at bat in the first. Came into today hitting .366. Small frame, but a very powerful young man. But he takes a fastball at the knees. He's behind 0-2. Both Tate and Morrill working lightning fast between pitches, especially with nobody on base. Tate's already set. Out of the windup, here's the 0-2. That just misses a little low.
Maldonado was ready to throw that ball around the horn. The zone is given a little more east-west than it has north-south today, and that's gone for both Tate and Morrill.
It certainly has been consistent. Tate set again. Here's the 1-2. Curveball. That one's on the inside corner for a called strike 3. Little bit of hesitation in the delivery from Tate that time, but he records his 6th punch-out of the afternoon.
That pitch was nasty, Evan. The pause at the bottom, and then the fact that you're going to take, after just missing a 1-2 pitch, front door curve, and he froze everybody in the building.
As Nick Penzetta digs in, striking out his first at bat, takes another backdoor curveball in the inside corner for strike 1. Through the early innings, we saw Tate primarily use his slider to get the chases down in the zone, going away to the righties. Now working more towards the inner half as he misses inside with a fastball.
You're the second time through the order now against the North Stars lineup that's been clicking, and especially at the top, Lomack, Blinn, Penzetta, Youngblood, and so on. Change those sequences up a little bit. You're forcing them to pay attention to that inside breaker and not bail out.
1-1 fastball misses high, 2-1 the count. And that's certainly a big separator from a good pitcher to a really good pitcher as you climb up the levels, being able to change things up second time through. Tate set. Here's the 2-1 with nobody on base. Misses high again, 3-1 the count.
What will also start to happen if you're really only pitching to the outer half of the plate is guys are going to start to lean and reach out over the plate a little more. That's when you can bust them in with that knee-high fastball, that inner fastball, and make them a little uncomfortable again.
Penzetta inches closer to the plate, and he fouls the 3-1 straight back into the screen. It'll load the count. 3-2 with 1 out, nobody on base in the bottom of the 4th in a scoreless ball game in our CWL championship game. Now Penzetta digs back in. Everybody playing straight up. Wind going from right to left at the moment. Here's the 3-2. Swung on and missed. Another nasty slider going way out of the strike zone away from the right-handed batter. Back-to-back strikeouts for Tate going back to the 3rd inning. Already his 7th of the afternoon.
There's just so much distraction in the motion of Jacob Tate home. He'll bring that normal leg kick up, but when he strides forward, the leg stiffens out. And you kind of draw your eye to that sometimes instead of the pitch coming in.
Daniel Youngblood takes a curveball missing a little outside, who singled his only at-bat in the 2nd, but he was erased on a 5-4-3 double play. Here's the 1-0 with 2 outs. Off the hands, it's popped up behind home plate, and it's going to drop foul right on the warning track behind the plate. It was not hit very high in the air. The catcher, Maldonado, did not see it right away. Really a spectacular crowd for Championship Sunday. I mean, this resembles opening night, honestly, for a power game during the summer. It is packed in here.
And fans still filing in.
Tate set with the 1-1 to Daniel Youngblood with 2 outs. That one's off the hands again, but hit up to center field pretty well. Blow comes in and to his left. He's able to put it away. 1, 2, 3 go the Manitoba North Stars in their half of the 4th. We're scoreless through 4 full at Palm Springs Stadium on the California Winter League YouTube. We rock and roll to the top of the 5th, ladies and gentlemen. 5, 6, 7 coming up for Washington. It'll be the lefty Gex, followed by Calvin Rucker and Malcolm Smith. Trey Morrill misses down and in the dirt. The first pitch fastball behind 1-0. Gex struck out his only at bat in the 2nd inning. Certainly an excellent sign for any North Star faithful, as well as manager Brian Kloppe. Morrill working into the 5th inning on short rest, but he misses way inside with a fastball. It goes back to the screen. Besides the 2 leadoff base runners that Morrill put on via hit by pitch and walk, he's been really good. That ball spiked into the dirt, and it looks like it deflected off Steve Bartelstein's foot, the home plate umpire. So he'll toss a new baseball out to Brodnansky, who will walk it out to Morrill. They'll both take a brief stroll to the mound, giving Bartelstein a little bit of extra time. We talked plenty how difficult of a position it is to be a catcher, but home plate umpire, you're right in the firing zone.
And you got a little less padding back there as well. That's why the catcher's in to kind of block your knees and block the legs a little bit. But a good camaraderie shown all season long between that dozen catchers we've had and the umpiring crew circling around.
We're set once again. This time Morrill delivers a strike right down the chute. Gex might have been taking all the way with the count 3-0. No outs, top of the 5th, nobody on base, scoreless. Swung on and missed by Gex. Another challenge fastball. Looked to be a little out in front on that swing. And Gex will try and lock it back in. 3-2 the count. Trying to work his way on base. Manufacture some offense. Breaking ball just outside. Morrill wanted the call from Bartelstein. So did Brodnansky. Not to be. A leadoff walk for Washington. Second walk issued by Morrill along with the hit by pitch.
As good as both these guys have been, you expect somewhat of a short leash because it's playoff time. It's one game, win or go home. So we're going to get some stretching in the bullpen on the first sign of struggle in these middle innings.
Breaking ball. That one's lined into center field. Penzetta right to him off the bat of Calvin Rucker, who swung at the first pitch. A quick first out coming right off of the leadoff walk. And that brings up Malcolm Smith. He struck out his only at bat coming in the 2nd.
Yeah, Ubaldo Romo's beginning to throw in the bullpen for the Manitoba North Stars. A guy who can give you a couple innings out of the pen if need be.
Manitoba middle infield will look to turn 2 as Smith fouls the first pitch back into the screen. Pretty good swing from him. The breeze has calmed at the moment. Extremely pleasant day at Palm Springs Stadium. Not a cloud to be found. Morrow working out of the stretch. Short lead from Gex at first. And a breaking ball. That one's popped up straight back out of play.
Look, they told me when I was coming to Southern California, pretty much around high 60s, low 70s, and sunny every day. Delivered most of the time. This is what I expected for a couple of guys coming from the Northeast.
Oh, absolutely. This is exactly as advertised. 0-2 the count to Smith. Morrow comes set. He slide steps and deals, and a fastball misses a little upstairs. No score, top of the 5th inning. And a check on the runner. Gex gets back on a dive. Still a pretty short lead, only 2.5 steps. The center fielder Penzetta playing quite shallow, shaded towards the right center field alleyway. Lomack in left is straight up. Youngblood in right's actually the deepest out of all three. So that one's foul tipped in and out of the glove of Brodnansky. The count remains 1-2.
Throughout this postseason, we've seen the right fielders play more and more toward the right field line, protecting against what's become Triple's alley down there.
All sorts of room in the corners as timeout is called at home plate. A lot of room for the outfielders to cover. Morrow comes set. The 1-2 with one out. One's a foul. And it deflects off the bleachers, fortunately. The ball wasn't hit all that hard, but it looked like it surprised a few fans, as well as the Blue Sox dugout. Long at bat from Malcolm Smith. Just one hit for the Blue Sox offense. They had a chance in the first inning with a man in scoring position. Not much off of Morrow. That one's fouled off again out of play down the right field line and beyond the bleachers.
Smith really making Morrow work, and it's been a heavy dose of fastballs. We haven't seen much of that front door breaking ball today, but this might be the count to use it. A guy who spoiled you starting to lean toward that fastball on the outer half. Maybe you can freeze him.
Smith standing relatively close to the plate in the right-handed batter's box. A curveball. That one's in there for a called strike 3. Just the 4th punch-out of the afternoon for Morrow. Guy we're used to really lighting it up. But a long at bat from Malcolm Smith goes the pitcher's way. That brings up the 8th man, Killian Bloat. He bounced out to first base, his only at bat. Excellent speed from Bloat out of the right-handed batter's box. He's shown it off his share of times in center field. Still a short lead from Gex. The first pitch, sit on the ground, staying down is Donity to his left, across the diamond, and it's on the bounce. It goes right past Yen Heng Woo. Gex is already at third. He's going to be held there. Manager Jimmy Johnson putting on a big stop sign. Up to second on the error goes Killian Bloat. Looked almost like Donity. He had all the time in the world to deliver the ball to first. Maybe aimed it a little bit. And Woo, he had an in-between hop and just not able to corral it.
I thought with Brett Donity moving to his left, he was going to take the shorter route and get the lead man at second base. Instead, tried the long throw, and as you mentioned, a real in-between hop for Yen Heng Woo, who kind of had gone down early, trying to play in front, then it hopped over his head.
It puts men on second and third with 2 outs in a scoreless game in the top of the 5th. It's the 9-manner, Taylor Maldonado, who bounced out to short his only at bat. And he takes a first pitch breaking ball inside. First base is open, but you would think Morrow would rather take on the 9-man Maldonado than deal with Cross. All of a sudden, danger zone for the North Stars. But he gets a swing and a miss at a breaking ball in the dirt.
What's really the danger here is Brodnansky's got to be a brick wall. We've seen about half a dozen runs in this postseason score on some pitches that have gotten away. from catchers or have just been spiked in the dirt. You got to be confident with what you're throwing here and confident in your man behind the dish.
Here's the 1-1 with 2 outs and 2 on. Curveball called high. That prompts some jeers, even some boos from fans in the crowd. It was a close pitch. 2-1 the count, second and third. Scoreless game. A base hit could give the Blue Sox a 2-run lead. That's off the end of the bat. It's popped up. First base side, foul territory. Brodnansky out with the mask off. He slides, and he's unable to make the catch as it deflects right off of his glove. The catcher, Brodnansky, went a long way to get it. The first baseman, Wu, was over there as well, but Brodnansky was making the call. New life for Maldonado and Washington. It evens the count 2-2.
Cole Brodnansky got a great break on that foul ball, and with Yen Heng Wu playing back at first and not the fleetest of foot, it was a long run for him. But just too much fluttering of that baseball in the air, and let's see if that comes back to hurt the North Stars.
The Blue Sox were able to get the first 2 men on in the first. Not much offense since then. Can they take advantage of 2 defensive miscues? Not this time. A curveball for a called strike 3. Maldonado not happy with the call. He has a few words for Steve Bartelstein behind the plate. Trey Morrill able to work around an error and a misplay in foul territory to retire the side in the 5th. Trey Morrill, excellent. 5 shutout innings on 2 days rest to keep us scoreless in our CWL championship game. We thank you once again for joining us as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. No score between the Washington Blue Sox and the Manitoba North Stars. Jacob Tate back to work as he delivers a fastball low and away to Cole Brodnansky. Brodnansky, Worrell, and Wu to start us off in the 5th. pitcher's duel at the moment between Morrill and Tate, as Tate gets a called strike on a fastball in the inside corner. And Brodnansky, he has a few words for Steve Bartelstein. We've seen the crowd get into it on a few calls behind the plate and a few hitters, along with the catchers. Swung on and missed. Another fastball back towards the inner half from Tate.
We saw it from Maldonado, now Brodnansky, and there's a fine line of should the catchers be the only ones who can comment on those things, or should they be the ones who really try not to, because they're going to want to pitch like that later for their pitcher.
We have not seen anyone get run from a game this entire season. Tate out of the windup, 1-2 breaking ball, floats outside. That slider from Jacob Tate has been crisp all afternoon, especially to all these right-handed batters in the Manitoba lineup. Here comes the 2-2 with nobody out. That breaking ball gets a swing and a miss. He started it in off the plate. It rode out towards the outer part of the strike zone, and Brodnansky swings over it.
That's 8 strikeouts for Jacob Tate. He hadn't had more than half a dozen in a game this year. Even in his 6th-inning outing, he struck out just 5 guys, had 6 strikeouts in a 3-inning performance in his debut. But like you said, that swing and miss slider right now is having a lot of late break.
It brings up the designated hitter, Taz Worrell, who swings at the first pitch and lifts one high in the air down the third base line. It's going to get out of play over towards the Raising Cane's tent. No action whatsoever in the Washington Blue Sox bullpen. We haven't even seen as much of a stir out of there. This looks to be Tate's game for the long haul, unless he gives somebody a reason. Curveball, he gets the call on the inside corner.
And we saw Ubaldo Romo up for Manitoba. He is down now, so either ready to go out for the 6th, or they're saying, Morrill, you're my guy, keep it going.
Here comes the 0-2 from Tate. That fastball's high, 1-2 the count. A little bit of extra mustard coming on that fastball from the big right-hander. Everybody playing straight up for the Blue Sox defense. So that one's chopped weakly foul at the plate. A battle of 2 true underdog teams. Manitoba, the 5th overall seed in the Canadian division. Washington Blue Sox, the 4th out of 4 teams on the American side. Upsets galore to make it to this point, and a lot of great pitching. That one's off the hands and fouled straight back just to the right of Andres in the public address announcer's booth.
Evan, you said it, underdogs. These 2 teams, the North Stars and the Blue Sox, a combined 9-19-1 in the regular season, but they're a combined 5-0 in the postseason. Someone's got to give.
For now, it's all the pitchers. Here's the 1-2 with 1 out from Tate. Off the end of the bat, Bucchino, the shortstop, stays down on it. Across the diamond. And they're going to say Rucker was off the bag. Took a little bit to get that call from the field umpire. But off the bag on a wide throw. It'll go down as an E6. Normally, really short-handed Bucchino, just wide on the throw.
Each side has now committed an error. Trey Morrill escaped his in the previous inning. What does Jacob Tate have in store for the lower half of the North Star order? I expect a heavy dose of that slider to continue.
It brings up Yen Heng Woo, who struck out his only at bat, and he takes a fastball at the belt for strike 1. Tate already rolled 1 double play ball coming back in the 2nd inning. Blew a guy out of the right-handed batter's box, does not run well. A ball on the ground could lead to another double play. And a short lead from Worrell at first, and Woo swings and misses. Behind in the count, 0-2. Tate already with 8 strikeouts with 1 out in the 5th. No score between Washington and Manitoba. The center fielder Bloat playing fairly deep as he normally does. This time shaded a few steps to left center. And a fastball at the knees for a called third strike to Wu. He did not like that call whatsoever. He also looked like he was fooled on that fastball. 9th strikeout for Jacob Tate.
He continues in cruise control. His defense commits an error behind him. He bounces right back and strikes out Yen Heng Wu on 3 pitches.
And brings up the 8th man, Xiao Pin Ho, who singled on a line drive up the middle, his only at bat in the 3rd. One of 2 hits for the Manitoba offense. Swing at the first pitch, and that's line just over our heads.
I'll tell you, Evan, you and I both put our hands up, but that ball was coming in hot.
For our sake and our technology's sake, that was much better that the ball was too high for us. That would have hurt. That would have been more of a defensive play for us if we had a chance.
Yeah, that one's hurting the finger. That one's hurting the fingers.
Hopefully the fingers and not the face. 0-1 the count to Xiao Pin Ho with 2 outs and Worrell at first after reaching on the error. He swings and misses at a fastball.
You think our trainers would make their way up to the booth if we took one off the hands right there?
They have 3 down there. They could spare one.
We're definitely lower on the totem pole than these players.
Oh, well, certainly. They would be thinking more about the players as well. 0-2 the count to Xiao Pin Ho with 2 outs and a scoreless game in the bottom of the 5th. Slide step from Tate off the end of the bat. It's line. Diving stop Morales over the first. It's not in time. The throw gets away. It goes to the Blue Sox dugout. Up to 3rd goes Taz Worrell. And Xiao Pin Ho, he crossed the first base bag. He's down on his back at the moment. One of our trainers coming to take a look at him. Oh, beg your pardon, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually the first baseman, Calvin Rucker, who was on the ground. But he's up on his feet. Couldn't see how that play turned out. He did end up diving to his right to try and corral that wide throw. But he looks to be okay. He's up on his feet. One of our trainers, Juliana, took a quick look at him, but he says he's good to go. So it's a base hit for Xiao Pin Ho. It looked like he would have beaten the play no matter what, and an error to allow Worrell to advance from 2nd to 3rd. Almost a superb play by Morales, who went full extension on the glove side. Well, it puts men on 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. Couple defensive miscues in the inning for the Blue Sox. Team that's been terrific defensively as of late, especially in the infield. It brings up the 9th man, Donady, who struck out his only at bat. He takes the first pitch up and in. It forces Maldonado to leap out of his crouch.
This is the first real scoring threat that the North Stars have provided against Jacob Tate. His first true high-leverage pitches.
The 1-0, that one misses outside. 2-0 the count.
And as good as he's been and as many swings and misses as he's induced, you got to stay within yourself. There's 2 outs. You still have that defense behind you. You are not in need of a strikeout.
Fans getting into it at Palm Springs Stadium. Scoreless game, 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. A hit will get the North Stars on the board as that one's fouled right off the leg of Maldonado. He looks to be okay, though. That gear paying off. Moves the count to 2 balls and 1 strike as Jacob Tate gets a new ball and takes a short walk around the mound. Worrell at 3rd base after reaching on a throwing error. Xiao Pin Ho at first after getting an infield single a moment ago. Really short lead at first from Xiao Pin Ho, but he inches out a little further. Breaking ball, that's down and in, 3-1 the count. You have a base open, but you also have Taylor Lomack waiting on deck, and even though he's been quiet as of late, he's not a guy you want to face with the bases loaded.
He's a .386 hitter and a guy who, if he hits the ball on the ground, could beat out a routine ground ball. This is your man if you're Tate.
Here's a 3-1 from Tate. The runner goes from first right back to the box. Tate flags it down, tosses it softly over the first. That retires the side. Jacob Tate able to work around a couple errors and an infield single to keep the North Stars off the board in their half of the fifth. We're through 5 full at Palm Springs Stadium, and it's all Jacob Tate and Trey Morrill in a scoreless ballgame. We move to the top of the 6th inning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Evan Schmeiser, joined by Jacob Kronberg for the California Winter League Championship game. We move to the top of the lineup. It'll be Cross, who takes a first pitch breaking ball high for ball 1, followed by Michael Bucchino and Mitch Morales. No score through 5. Both starting pitchers, excellent. As Cross lifts that one high in the air to shallow right field. The second baseman Blaine is out. Oh, and he makes a circus grab with Penzetta, the center fielder, coming in behind him. Kind of lunging back there and drifting on the ball. He's able to make the play to keep the leadoff man Cross off of the base paths. Trey Morrill in his 6th inning of work on 2 days rest. Fresh off of throwing near 100 pitches, 71 pitches to start this 6th inning. But he's looking sharp. And he's got that breaking ball working with a good one on the inside corner to Bucchino. Bucchino walked in the 1st and singled in the 4th. But he's behind in the count, 0-2 on another breaking ball. Trey Morrill pitching backwards early and often, and it's paying off. Out of the windup, the 0-2. Swung on and missed at a fastball towards the lower part of the zone. 6th strikeout for Trey Morrill, and he's got everything working. Trey Morrill sailing along. It brings up Mitch Morales. In 2 consecutive at-bats, he has bounced into 6-4-3 double plays.
Good news for him, there's nobody on base. Can't do it again.
Of course, he is batting with 2 outs and nobody on in a scoreless game in the top of the 6th. First pitch fastball at the knees for a called strike. And just 1 hit for the Washington Blue Sox lineup. Not a whole lot of good swings. Morrill over the top delivery and a slider. Strike 2 on the outside corner.
There are 3 guys getting loose in the Manitoba bullpen right now. Looks like Ubaldo Romo, Qixuan Zhang, and Braden Bonner are up, moving.
Morrill, the man of the moment, the 0-2. Fastball in there for a called strike 3 on the outside corner. Mitch Morales goes down on 3 pitches. Trey Morrill works a 1-2-3, top of the 6th inning. And it only took him 8 pitches. You talk about really sailing along. We're scoreless through 5.5 on the California Winter League YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. We're in for a good one. As we enter the bottom of the 6th inning, CWL fans, we have a showdown of aces. Trey Morrill of the North Stars, Jacob Tate for the Blue Sox. And it'll be Tate's turn, dealing with the top of the lineup for Manitoba. Lomac, Blinn, and Penzetta. We'll be seeing Tate for the 3rd time this game. We'll see how Tate fares. He gets a first pitch swing and a miss from Lomac on a ball running in on his hands. Lomac steps out of the box, absolutely fooled on that first pitch. Tate working out of the windup has made it look easy so far. That fastball misses high, 1-1.
We're going to get our first movement down the right field line for the Blue Sox pen.
Yeah, there was virtually nothing going on there the entire game up to this point. As a 1-1 fastball misses high, 2-1 the count.
Not quite sure who's getting up to throw. I saw Carling putting on his gear, the backup catcher, and it looks like Braden Lee Lahano.
Here comes the 2-1 from Tate to Lomac. That's high, 3-1 the count.
You got to give him something to hit here. This is the last guy you want to grant a free pass to.
A walk to Lomac is practically a double. Here comes a 3-1 from Tate. Lomac stands a little closer to the plate. That one's chopped. High bouncer, flagged down by the second baseman, Mitch Morales. He delivers to first base, 1 out. Challenge fastball that time from Tate and able to get the put out. Brings up Denver Blinn. He's 0 for 2 with a couple punch outs. 1 out, nobody on base in the bottom of the 6th. Scoreless between the North Stars and the Blue Sox. Who will strike first? The first pitch to Blinn, check swing, he takes high. The moment things have quieted down in the Manitoba bullpen, just see somebody stretching, and you have a couple pitchers and a catcher just sitting on the bench out there. That's off the end of the bat to the second baseman Morales again. A couple steps to his left, and a quick 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th.
When it comes to the pitching staff for Manitoba, manager Brian Kloppe is big on kind of letting his guys dictate when they feel they're running out. He jokingly said yesterday after Brett Taucher went the distance, I was like, I don't think I spoke to Brett after the 4th inning. Just kind of let him go out there. If they feel like they're losing it or you can sense it on the field, then you make your adjustments. But it'd be tough to take a guy like Morrill out of the game with what he's done the last couple innings.
Nick Penzetta swings the first pitch. Soft chopper, gloved by Lara, charging in over the first. Able to get Penzetta by just a step. Wow, you talk about a quick bottom of the 6th inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Manitoba North Stars. Through 6 full at Palm Springs Stadium. Zeros on the board on both sides in our championship game.
Top of the 7th inning at Palm Springs Stadium, knotted at 0 between the Washington Blue Sox and the Manitoba North Stars. Trey Morrill still on the bump for Manitoba as he misses with a breaking ball. Jacob Kronberg and Evan Schmeiser still in the broadcast booth. 1-0, changeup misses up, ball 2. 6 innings of one-hit ball thus far for Trey Morrill, who went the distance in a 7-inning game just 3 days ago. His 2-0 curveball hangs upstairs, 3-0 to Alejandro Lara, the Blue Sox cleanup man. Flied out in the first, struck out in the fourth. You got to expect the stop sign is on here, or not. Swings over a breaking ball. The count moves, rather, the count's 2-2. Morrill pauses at the top of his motion. 2-2. Hard ground ball to short. Fielded by Xiaopin Ho. Spins. Throw to first in the dirt. Not handled by Yen Hang Wu.
That's an error. He's got to pick that up. I'm putting an error.
It's going to go down as an error against the North Stars infield, and the leadoff man is on for the Blue Sox. And as we approach the late innings, do we maybe get a glimpse of some small ball in a scoreless effort? Just 4 total hits in the game, as Lara leads off first with nobody out and Aaron Gex the batter. Morrill, quick pitch home, goes through the 5-hole of Brodnansky, and Lara sprints up to second. A base runner in scoring position for the Blue Sox with nobody out.
That is a big-time break. I mean, that ball went right through the 5-hole of Brodnansky. And we were talking about, would we see a little bit of small ball? Gex did not square, but, I mean, now with a man on second base and nobody out, maybe you think about squaring around.
Gex 0 for 1. He has struck out and walked. Ubaldo Romo continues to throw in the Manitoba bullpen as Morrill works from the letters. 1-0, swung on and missed, strike 1. Doesn't seem like the idea of bunting is circulating with the Blue Sox at the moment.
It does not. Perhaps Gex is a guy who's just not used to bunting a whole lot, but from the left-handed batter's box, you got to get something on the ground to the right side.
Morrill from the third base side of the rubber checks Lara. Is 1-1. Slider kind of frisbees upstairs for ball 2. Morrill leans in for the sign, glove held tightly against his chest with the right arm hanging. Agrees on a pitch with Brodnansky, now stands tall on the mound. 2-1 inside, and Gex hops out of the way. 3 balls and a strike, the count to Aaron Gex. With the wind having changed direction, blowing left to right now.
That's one of the very few uncompetitive sliders that we've seen from Morrill. It just missed way inside the Gex.
No check to Lara. The 3-1. Down and in, ball 4. Aaron Gex walked for the second consecutive at-bat. And there's 2 on with nobody out for the Blue Sox. Calvin Rucker coming up. And it's going to bring North Stars manager Brian Kloppe out of the dugout. The first glimpse of trouble we've seen for Trey Morrill on his own doing since the first. And I think that's going to be all for the tall right-hander. Manager Brian Kloppe takes the rock, pats Morrill on the chest, and signals down the left field line to the Manitoba bullpen. An ovation for Trey Morrill after 6+ innings of shutout ball. He's on the hook for the 2 men on base, and the North Stars are going to leave it up to their bullpen. We're scoreless, 2 on, nobody out. Calvin Rucker, the batter for the Blue Sox, when we return. The Manitoba North Stars make the first call to the bullpen for either side, and it's for the right-hander, Ubaldo Romo, pitching for the 9th time this year. He's 3-0 with a 1.23 earned run average. Just 14 hits given up over 17 innings pitched. And he comes in a bit of a jam. 2 on, nobody out with Calvin Rucker at the dish in a scoreless ball game. Jacob Kronberg and Evan Schmeiser here on the CWL YouTube as Romo works from the stretch, far first base side of the rubber, and he delivers home, spinning a slider over the inside corner for strike 1 called.
If Romo's able to get that call on that borderline inside breaking ball, he's going to make things really tough for all these right-handed bats.
We have seen 2 double plays turned by the Manitoba defense to get out of trouble. They could use a third. But the game knotted at 0. 0-1 fastball runs away, ball 1. Alejandro Lara, the runner at second. He reached on an error to begin the inning. Aaron Gex behind him at first, walked. Both would be charged to Trey Morrill, the Manitoba starter. Romo kicks and delivers. Missing low with the fastball. 2 balls and a strike now to Rucker. Rucker from Seffner, Florida. Played at Georgetown University, at Savannah State, and then last year in the MLB Draft League. He waves the bat like a practice pitching wedge. Now calls time and steps out. Right on right, the matchup between Romo and Rucker. Wind blowing heavily toward right. Romo checks Lara, who's got a big lead off a second. And an inside move watches him back into the bag.
And Jacob, with all the great defense we've seen from both sides, with especially on the infield and the double plays, we've seen our share of miscues, 2 errors on each side. And you wonder which team is going to take advantage of a potential mistake first.
Romo's 2-1. Slider offered at in the dirt. Good read from Lara. He advances to third. 2-2 the count after Rucker offered at the breaking ball. But now the go-ahead run just 90 feet from home. In a game that has been scoreless through the first 6 innings, the Blue Sox have mustered a single hit, but a chance to take the lead here.
And that was a huge base running play by Lara. The ball did not scoot all that far away from Brodnansky. Excellent opportunity to get a run on the board without needing a hit.
Romo from a belt tie set. Checks home. The 2-2. Popped up. Right side. Foul territory. Brodnansky and Wu over. The catcher Brodnansky secures the grab with both hands for a big out number 1. We saw a similar play about an inning ago that Brodnansky dropped. This time uses the extra hand, and that's a big first out, but still a lot of work to go for Romo and the North Stars.
I was just getting ready to say the same thing, Jacob. It looked eerily similar. The ball hung up a little bit longer, but I'm very surprised that the first baseman Wu did not make a call on it. It's a much easier play for him coming in than with a catcher having to go out, facing the wrong way, all sorts of spin on the pop-up. It worked out this time, though.
Brings up Malcolm Smith, runners on the corners, 1 out. Romo out of the stretch, first pitch, lined into right field and down for a base hit. Lara in to score. Gex stops at second as the ball is fired in by Youngblood. The Washington Blue Sox on the board first with an RBI single by Malcolm Smith in the 7th, and it's 1-0. Sox in front.
I was just saying a moment ago, who's going to take advantage of the mistakes first? And the Blue Sox are the team able to do just that. Take advantage of the error with Lara reaching base as well as the wild pitch, and you get a flare of a single into right field and still a chance for more.
The run will be charged to Trey Morrill, who is still on the hook for Gex at second. And if you're Ubaldo Romo, the damage needs to stop here with what Jacob Tate has done against your offense. First pitch slider misses down and out to Killian Bloat for ball one. Two teams that entered the postseason in the basement of their respective divisions. The North Stars made it through the rush, and the Bombers, as well as the Grizzly, to get to this championship game. Romo's 1-0. Down and out, ball two. The Blue Sox made it through the number one seeded Lumberjacks and the second seeded Chill. One of these teams will be coined the team of destiny at the conclusion of today's game, and right now it's Washington in front 1-0. Romo with a high hand set, lowers now to the letters. Checks Gex, who's dancing. 2-0, sliced foul. Chi Shuen Zhang up already in the Manitoba pen behind Ubaldo Romo. We've mentioned Manitoba's got as rested of a bullpen as you can find. As in their three playoff games, game one, Trey Morrill went 7. That's the distance. Game 2, Brett Taucher went 7. That's the distance. And in game 3, 2 2/3 from Braden Quisenberry, followed up by 4 1/3 by Tristan Cummings. Covered it all. Deep breath for Romo on the bump. Gex continues to shuffle off second, and time is called at home plate. And now Killian Bloat's going to go talk with his manager and third base coach, Jimmy J.J. Johnson.
This is interesting. This might be the first time we've seen a batter step out to go talk to his manager by the third base coach's box all season. I think you have to get Zhang up in the bullpen if you're Brian Kloppe, especially with all the options, as you just mentioned, Jacob. Romo, while he hasn't allowed any hard contact since he's come out of the bullpen, he hasn't been sharp. He's been already working several deep counts, falling behind these Washington batters consistently.
Behind Romo, you've got Zhang, you've got Jerry Davis, Braden Bonner, and Noah Lashley. Big leads for both runners. Romo, a long look. His 2-1. Fastball low, snap throw behind the bag to second. In the dirt, but diving on top of it is Denver Blinn, saving an error. The glove was there, but I'm pretty sure Blinn caught that ball in his gut.
That was a miraculous play by Blinn. I mean, picking up the short hop while diving to the backhand side. It's not a bad idea to try and go after Gex on second base, who's been, frankly, kind of taking some reckless leads and secondaries, but you need somebody there to cover.
Blinn now holding on Gex, both with dirt on their chests. The 3-1. Lifted foul on the right side, and the count works full. One to 0, the Blue Sox leading thanks to the Malcolm Smith RBI single just a batter ago. We saw a lot of offense throughout the regular season. Pitching has reigned supreme in the postseason, as it should. Romo from the first base side of the rubber. Size on the mound. You see the shoulders drop. 3-2 in the dirt, ball 4, and Killian Bloat draws a walk. Loads the bases for the Blue Sox, and a chance at a big inning now with Taylor Maldonado coming up.
You have to take advantage of this situation if you're Washington, especially if Romo falls behind in the count again to Maldonado. Then you got to be looking dead red, ready to drive something.
Brian Kloppe is out of the dugout already, and he is going to leave nothing to chance. Chi Shuen Zhang coming into the game with the bases full and one out, trying to keep it just a one-run deficit for the North Stars. They're loaded up for Taylor Maldonado when we come back on the California Winter League YouTube. 1-0 the Blue Sox in front of the North Stars as we play the top of the 7th inning. And it's the third pitcher of the inning for Manitoba. Trey Morrill began it, allowed the first 2 to reach. Retired a man. Ubaldo Romo came in, gave up a hit to lead to a run, and then walked Killian Bloat. They're full for Chi Shuen Zhang, making his 14th appearance of the year. Out of the stretch he goes. First pitch, bounce to third. Donady has it to second for 1. No turn to first. There was a slight bobble in the glove of Donady, as it was for Blinn at second, and the Blue Sox will double their lead. They're in front 2-0.
You got to give credit to Taylor Maldonado just putting the ball in play, but that was an unbelievable play by Donady at third. I mean, that was a really long in-between hop, and we see with a lot of these infielders with this hard dirt, a lot of those do-or-die hops. Do you wait back on it? Do you charge it? He chose to charge, and very fortunate to be able to get it out at second base.
Now 2 outs in the frame, runners on the corners for James Cross. 1 was the lead. 2 feels good. 3 runs would feel a whole lot better for Jimmy Johnson's bunch. First pitch from Zhang. Lifted into left center field. Lomac and Panzetta over. It's the left fielder Lomac who runs it down in the gap and ends the inning. But the Washington Blue Sox load them up, score a pair, and lead 2-0. It's stretch time at Palm Springs Stadium. We'll step aside on the CWL YouTube. Jacob Tate back out to pitch the 7th for the Blue Sox, and he's now staked to a 2-0 advantage. He faces the heart of the Manitoba order, and he hits Daniel Youngblood with a first pitch breaking ball. The start Manitoba needed, trailing now by 2.
And Jacob, I was just getting ready to say that Tate was down on the bench for an extremely long time. With those 2 pitching changes just an inning ago, and of course the 2 runs coming on the board for his Blue Sox. How sharp is he going to be all that time being cold?
So a man on and nobody out for Cole Brodnansky. Grounded into a double play and struck out as he takes a fastball away. But Cole has been one of the hottest hitters in the postseason for anybody. Through the first 6 games of the regular season, he was hitting $176. Since then, he has upped his average to over .350. Tate from the stretch. 1-0, popped up right side. Long run for Aaron Gex. Long run for the second baseman. Morales, neither get there. And Morales takes a tumble over the bullpen mound. It lands in foul territory. He's up quickly and appears he's all right. But almost a dangerous play in full sprint, putting his body on the line.
I mean, those were tremendous efforts all the way around from Gex and Morales from second base. I'm surprised that the first baseman, Rucker, he made no attempt to go after the pop-up, and I think he would have had the shortest route to get it. It is kind of a tough play, trying to go straight back, even with your back facing the infield, but he might have had the best shot at that, and he was just standing right on the first base bag.
So another life for Brodnansky, who takes a fastball upstairs, ball 2. Sox in front, 2-zip. An RBI single by Malcolm Smith and an RBI fielder's choice hit into by Taylor Maldonado. As we play the home 7th. Tate has been incredible, just 3 hits allowed over the first 6 and change. A shoulder high set, slide step home, and the 2-1 swung over for strike 2.
Even with the middle of this North Stars lineup, Tate is still getting a whole lot of off-balance swings, and a good sign. He looks sharp, even with just 2 batters, not recording an out yet in the bottom of the 7th.
2-2 the count to Brodnansky. Short lead for Youngblood. Tate's fastball just off the outside corner, and the count moves full.
It was a good idea by Tate. Well-located fastball. We've seen throughout the season that borderline outside pitch get called a strike. Today, it's been pretty consistently called a ball.
A 3-2 pitch upcoming. Tate and the Blue Sox in desperate need of a shutdown inning as home plate umpire Steve Bartlestein not a fan of the music.
Oh, what are you going to do? Everyone has different tastes.
Very short lead for Youngblood, being held on by Rucker. Staggered stance on the rubber, it's Tate. Payoff pitch. In there, strike 3 called. Brodnansky had tossed the bat and started removing the shin guard, but he's punched out looking to a round of boos from the crowd. It's the first out.
I'm not sure what Brodnansky was doing right there, especially as the catcher. He knows the strike zone as well as anyone. It was not the same pitch as the one called a ball a moment ago. It was much closer to the plate. I thought it was a strike, way too close to take.
So 1 on, 1 out now for Taz Worrell, who turns on the first pitch, lifting it foul down the left field line. Long run, Laura. He runs out of room. Into the bleachers it goes for strike 1. Had the guys in the Manitoba bullpen bailing out of the way.
Also looks like a few youngsters are going after that foul ball, trying to get that free bag of popcorn.
Got to get the popcorn. It's your last chance of the winter.
Yes, that's true.
Tate ahead in the count, 0-1 to Worrell, who has reached on an error and struck out. Middle infield pinches. Tate, the 0-1, slider in the dirt. Good stop by Maldonado, who's been a brick wall back there this afternoon when his team has needed him most in the championship belt.
He really has been unbelievable back there. The way Tate's slider comes in, it's not the easiest pitch to block, but Maldonado, he's been up to the task.
Wind blowing out toward right field. 1-1, pulled on the ground left side, past the diving Laura, and down the left field line it goes. Still going, it rolls to the wall. Daniel Youngblood around third, he's heading for home. Worrell stops at second. Throw in is cut off. Youngblood scores. And the North Stars cut the deficit in half. It's an RBI double for Taz Worrell. And it's a 2-1 ball game. Taz Worrell, who a couple days ago had the game-winning RBI triple to right, puts his team on the board with a double to left here today.
Possibly the first real mistake pitch we've seen from Tate all afternoon. He was able to get Worrell out in front, but it caught way too much of the plate, much higher in the strike zone than he'd prefer to put it. And good piece of hitting from Worrell, just able to keep it fair. Also a poor play by Smith in left. Took a bad angle to the ball and ended up going right past him into the corner.
Tying run now on second base, being held on by Morales, as Yen Heng Wu takes a fastball at the knees for strike one. Taz Worrell, who spent a portion of the regular season hurt or banged up at least, didn't get too many at-bats, has truly shown his abilities at the dish here in the postseason. Tate looks at him 3 different times. And now the 0-1, a knee-high fastball taken for strike 2. Levi Wilson gets up in the Blue Sox bullpen. Braden Bonner is up in the North Stars bullpen. And Tate ahead of Yen Heng Wu, 0-2. It's a 2-1 game, Sox lead. But the tying run on second for the Stars. Tate with the slide step. His 0-2 misses low, ball 1. Yen Heng Wu went to North China University of Technology. Now over here playing ball in the States this winter. Hoping to come up clutch for the North Stars. Tate, wheels and deals, slider, waved at and missed. Induced an ugly hack while doing so as Tate picks up another punch out. There's now 2 outs in the inning.
And I thought Tate was going to try and bust Wu inside with a fastball, just with how close to the plate he ended up standing. But he had him completely fooled on that curveball.
2 on, 2 out, 1 on for Xiao Pin Ho, who is 2 for 2 with a pair of singles today. A third hit here, massive. First pitch from Tate, fastball runs inside, and a gliding stop by Maldonado behind the dish of ball 1.
And Jacob, we've seen several times in this postseason almost stubbornness perhaps on the part of the managers and pitchers with a base open wanting to pitch to a red-hot hitter. You do not want Xiao Pin Ho to be the man to beat you.
1-0. Hit on the ground left side. Through the hole for a base hit. They're going to wave Worrell around. Fielded by Smith. Throw home a good one. Tag not there. Worrell slides in underneath safely. Xiao Pin Ho does it again. He's 3 for 3, and the biggest hit of the game today ties it at 2.
Xiao Pin Ho has seen the ball really well this entire ball game. And again, it was not a bad fastball by Tate. It was down towards the outer part of the plate, but Xiao Pin Ho able to get his arms extended. He got a lot on it through the hole on the left side. And once again, Jimmy Johnson elected to have Tate pitch to Xiao Pin Ho even after falling behind in the count. You have Donady on deck coming up now, who struck out and bounced out to the pitcher. Why you would not pitch around Xiao Pin Ho in favor of Donady, I do not understand. But excellent part on Xiao Pin Ho, taking advantage of his opportunity, seizing the moment to tie the game.
Brett Donady calls timeout real quick. He's going to get a different bat. 2 runs in the top of the second for the Blue Sox to break a scoreless tie. 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th for the North Stars to re-tie things up. And what more could you ask for on Championship Sunday? A tie ball game in the late innings. Clutch 2-out hitting by the North Stars. And Xiao Pin Ho stands on second as the go-ahead run for Donady, who, as Evan mentioned, is 0 for 2. Tate remains out there for the Sox. Shoulder high set. First pitch fastball in the dirt. Gets away from Maldonado. Moving up to third is Xiao Pin Ho. And that's going to bring Jimmy Johnson out of the dugout, it appears. Does he make a mid-batter change? Levi Wilson has been throwing in his bullpen.
These are those crucial managerial decisions that make or break a ball game. This is the first sign of any trouble we've seen from Tate in this championship game. He's been up to the task, but of course you have trouble still looming in the 7th.
It's a quick meeting. Tate's going to stay out there. Jimmy Johnson is looking down to the bullpen to make sure Wilson's all right. Levi Wilson gives him a big old thumbs up. Tie game on the line here.
I assume Jimmy Johnson, he was walking out there looking to see the reaction from Tate. He clearly got an indication that he's still good to go. Tate wants this ball game. Physically, he thinks he feels good enough.
1-0 the count to Donnerty. Xiaopin Ho, the go-ahead run 90 feet from home with 2 outs. Tate out of the windup, and the 1-0 lifted foul over the net behind home plate. The wind has shifted back, blowing from right to left now. Smith near the line and shallow in left, Bloat. Normal positioning in center, as is Gex in right. Xiaopin Ho leads in foul territory off a third as Tate rocks and fires. 1-1. Floated into right field. Aaron Gex to his right. Lines it up and makes the catch to retire the side. But the Manitoba North Stars bounce back after surrendering a pair of runs. They get 2 of their own, and we're all square again at 2 as we go to the 8th on the CWL YouTube. Knotted up at 2 as we begin the 8th inning between the North Stars and the Blue Sox. Jacob Kronberg and Evan Schmeiser live at Palm Springs Stadium as Manitoba goes back to its bullpen, this time for Braden Bonner. First pitch of the inning, end of the outing for Bonner, misses well outside to Michael Bucchino for ball 1. Braden Bonner, a 6'4" right-hander from Murray, Utah, will be going to camp with the Lake Erie Crushers of the Frontier League this spring. Hands held below the belt. His 1-0 fouled back into the screen for strike 1. Bonner has appeared in 10 games prior this season. He's gone 12 2/3 innings, 16 strikeouts, 2 walks, just 6 hits allowed, but the big number, he has not given up an earned run. Hard-throwing righty, positions himself on the first base side of the rubber. His left foot more toward third than his right. 1-1. Slider missing inside, ball 2.
Well, Jacob, at least on the surface, can't ask for a guy better than this to pitch the 8th inning in a tie ball game.
And with the way the North Stars pitching staff is rolled, you think if Bonner is on, these next 2 innings are his. 2-1, misses up and into Bucchino. Trey Morrill went the first 6 and then into the 7th. He was relieved by Ubaldo Romo, who faced 2 batters and gave up a run that was charged to Morrill. Chi Xuan Zhang then came in, induced the fielder's choice, which allowed the second run to cross, and ended that 7th inning. Bonner from the belt. 3-1, misses upstairs, and it's a leadoff walk to Bucchino. What was a masterful pitching performance on both sides to start has fumbled a bit here in the 7th. We mentioned the 2 runs for the Sox. The North Stars would answer immediately against Jacob Tate. A hit batter, an RBI double, and an RBI single squared the game up at 2. And now the North Stars need their shutdown in it on the mound as they went to Bonner. He walked Bucchino to start, who was one of the best base stealers in the CWL. Stole 14 of them this year. As Mitch Morales bats. First pitch to Morales, a fastball in at the knees for a called strike 1. We're getting late at Palm Springs Stadium. Tie game in the top of the 8th. Jerry Davis is going to stretch in the pen for Manitoba now. Morales with the bat rested on his back shoulder. Bucchino runs. Fastball up and in. Good pitch to throw on. Barnanski down to second. Is late and it hops into center field. Good backup by Panzetta, but a stolen base from Michael Bucchino has him in scoring position, but also slightly shaken up. May have just taken some dust to the face on that slide.
I'm not surprised whatsoever that Bucchino took off. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. We've talked about that this entire season. And you have a guy in Braden Bonner who's just not quick to home plate. I mean, he has that big leg kick. We see most of these other guys slide stepping. So it looks like Bucchino's trotting off from second base towards the dugout.
He's just going to get some water, maybe clean off his face a little. Maybe got a mouthful of sand on that dive into second base.
It is the desert. I mean, you can get dry pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly. It's dry almost all the time.
That's true.
But Bucchino stands as the go-ahead run at second base, nobody out. And a 0-1 count to Mitch Morales. 0 for 3. He has struck out and bounced into 2 double plays as the infield plays him to pull. Bonner checks on Bucchino. High leg kick. And the pitch is skied into shallow center field. Out goes Blinn. In comes Panzetta. The center fielder, Panzetta, calls everyone off and makes the catch for out number 1. We'll see if the flyout settles Braden Bonner into this game.
That's not the at-bat you need from Morales if you're a Blue Sox faithful. At the very least, you want him to get something on the ground and give Bucchino an opportunity to get to third base. A pop-up right up the elevator chute to shallow center field, that's not going to help anybody.
Bucchino remains on second with 1 out. It's Alejandro Lara. Scored the first run of the game just an inning ago after reaching on an error, and he bails out of the way of an up-and-in fastball. Ball 1. Tied at 2 in the championship battle between the North Stars and the Blue Sox. Bonner working slowly. His 1-0. Fastball poured into the zone for strike 1 called.
Bonner has a good feel of his fastball right now. Working it up in the strike zone to these right-handed hitters. A lot of these guys like to get their arms extended on the ball down. And just with his bit of a deceptive delivery, he's a tough guy to pick the ball up against.
Quick check to Bucchino, being held on by Blinn. The 1-1 fastball on the outside corner, strike 2 called. You can feel the pressure with every pitch, especially as the pace has slowed as we've gone on. Hands held below the belt. 1-2. Lifted into right field, starting back Youngblood. Now he retreats in and he misplayed it. Ball lands to his left. Lara going for third. They're going to send him home. Throw in goes up the line. Lara scores. Snap throw to second is late. An error on Daniel Youngblood in right field. Resurrenders the lead to the Washington Blue Sox. They're in front 3-2. On the North Stars' third defensive miscue of the game.
That surprised me about as much as anyone. Youngblood started back on that ball at first. You got an extremely late break coming in. I don't know if he was battling the sun. Generally, we see everyone on the left side of the field having more issues with the sun, but it looked like he barely even touched that ball as he went by. And then a very poor throw to the plate, too, up the third base line.
Aaron Gex swings through a first pitch fastball for strike 1. This is a bit later in the day than most of our games. At this point would be in the final inning of our nightcaps, which are really matinees. Lara on second, 1 out. In this right-on-left matchup between Bonner and Gex. Tight leg kick, and the 0-1 sails upstairs. Count evens a ball and a strike to Aaron Gex, who has struck out once and walked twice. Scored a run in the 2-run 7th for Washington. Bonner slowing down the tempo of the game. Is 1-1. Off the end of the bat, foul behind home plate, and Bonner jumps ahead 1-2.
Jacob, we're running out of time on our foul ball.
I've given up.
It only takes one. It takes one pitch.
Gex, who hit just a $152 this year, trying to give his team some insurance in the 8th, up 3-2. Bonner's 1-2. Outside. And the count evens up.
And if you're Bonner, you have to take a deep breath, ignore what happened behind you, and just handle what you can.
Bonner takes a deep breath on the mound. Checks Lara, now goes home. Pitch misses inside to Gex. And a strong stop behind the plate by Cole Brodnansky.
Jacob, there was about a 5-second span leading up to that previous pitch where the entire ballpark was silent except for me speaking. It caught me by surprise.
Full count to Aaron Gex. Lara leads off second. Xiao Ho plays behind him. Payoff. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Bonner battles back in the at-bat to pick up the strikeout. Now 2 down in the road 8th.
And that was a really important second out to this inning. Give Braden Bonner a ton of credit. Being able to come right back out after a difficult misplay in right field, allowing the go-ahead run to score, but able to handle his business and punch out Gex.
Trying to keep the deficit to just 1 is Braden Bonner as he faces Calvin Rucker. Rucker 0 for 3. He's hit the ball in the air every time as he takes a fastball over the outer edge for a called strike 1. Right on right, the matchup between Bonner and Rucker. And time called at home plate. Rucker, a lot of movement with the bat before he settles in. Sways it twice with both hands on toward home. One more for measure, now lines up over the back shoulder. Bonner from the first base side of the rubber. 0-1. Slider backs up on the inside corner for strike 2 called. A 3-2 lead for Washington. They scored 2 in the 7th, 1 here in the 8th. And Bonner trying to get his offense back up. The 0-2 home. Upstairs. Caught in the middle is Laura. Snap throw to second after the hesitation is not in time. Brodnetsky bluffed the throw, and all of a sudden Laura broke for third, then put the brakes on, and by the time he retreated to second, if Brodnetsky had let it rip early, they would have had him.
Laura absolutely got away with one. He was caught in the middle. The only problem was there was nobody covering second base at first. It took Blaine just a moment too long to get there.
Ball and 2 strikes, the count to Rucker. 1-2 slider in the upper crust of the zone. Strike 3 called. A walk, a stolen base, and an error manufacture a Blue Sox run. They lead 3-2 as we go to the home 8th. Top of the order, due up for the North Stars after this on the California Winter League YouTube. The top of the order due up for the Manitoba North Stars as we kickstart the home 8th at Palm Springs Stadium. Jacob Kronberg and Evan Schmeiser bringing you the California Winter League Championship game. Levi Wilson into pitch for the Blue Sox. And his first pitch fastball runs inside to Taylor Lomack, who pops out of the way of ball 1. Wilson from Sonoya, Georgia, pitching in his 14th game this year. Inverted set on the mound. The 1-0 misses up, ball 2. Lomack, Blinn, and Panzetta. The top of the order due up for Manitoba, who is an unconventional 0 for 9. A bunch of guys who combined to hit 370 this year. Big swing at the 2-0 from Lomac, and he whiffs for strike one as more action gets stirring in the Blue Sox pen.
Lomac needs to get back to what's made him a really good hitter, staying through the middle of the field and even the opposite way. He was out in front by a ton on that last fastball.
2-1, hitter misses low. 3 balls and a strike to Lomac, and we said this last time he was up. Got to give a competitive pitch here. He gets on, almost assuredly will run.
I think you have to take all the way if you're Lomac, even with a 3-1 count.
Here is the 3-1 pitch, and Lomac swings and fouls one off of our umpire, Steve Bartelstein. Caught none of Taylor Maldonado and goes right off of our home plate umpire. And the trainers are out to check on him. We're going to step aside. A 3-2 lead for the Blue Sox here in the home eighth. Oh, we're going to stay here. Bart's back to his feet quickly.
Goodness, he's one tough son of a gun, I tell you, Jacob.
Wow.
Well, terrific to see that Bart's okay, but to get back to that last pitch, I think Lomac swung at ball 4.
Absolutely. Got a hanging slider that was up.
Yeah, and the back-to-back swings we saw from him, like his front shoulder just is coming flying.
Yeah.
It's flying open, and his body's facing the third base bag at the end of his swing.
He's not a power guy. He's a speed guy and seems to be swinging to try and tie this game when his legs could do that for him as well. Maldonado gave Steve Bartelstein adequate time to recover from that foul ball. And a 3-2 pitch up coming to Lomac. Wilson works to his letter high set. The payoff pitch is outside, ball 4, and Lomac's aboard. Tying run on base to begin the home eighth in similar fashion in which the Blue Sox retook the lead, the Bucchino walk and steal.
That's a major break for the North Stars. Just an uncompetitive pitch on a fastball outside from Bonner. Lomac is going to take off at some point in this at-bat. If you're Blinn, you need to give him a pitch or two. Last thing you want is for Lomac to take off and you foul one away.
Wouldn't be shocked at a pitch out on either pitch 1 or 2. Lomac doesn't run, and Blinn bounces one to third. Lara goes to second for 1. Turnover to first, not in time. Lomac nearly beat that throw to second as Blinn avoids the double play, hustling out of the box. But I'm a bit perplexed to see 1, Lomac not running on the first pitch, and 2, to see Blinn going after it.
I completely agree. You can't ask for anything better if you're Braden Bonner than to get a first pitch swing, a weakly hit ground ball, and to eliminate Lomac on the bases.
Still 1 on, but now 1 out, and it's Nick Panzetta. Goes after the first pitch, cueing it foul for strike 1. Braden Lee Lejano, the 6'5 righty, throwing in the Sox pen. It's a 3-2 lead for the Washington Blue Sox. Middle infield pinches. Wilson's 0-1. Swung on and missed, strike 2. We've said at this top of the North Stars order that had really been the thumpers for their lineup. Now a combined 0 for 10 with a walk today. Panzetta trying to change that. Wilson ahead of him, 0-2. Inverted set on the mound. The 0-2 home. Slider hangs upstairs, ball 1. The wind has subsided. The temperature still in the low 70s. Wilson checks the runner. 1-2, hit on the ground left side, past a diving Bucchino and into left field. Blinn stops at second. Penzetta aboard with a single, and it moves the tying run into scoring position for Manitoba. The tying run and the go-ahead run on base for the cleanup man, Daniel Youngblood, whose misplay in right allowed the run to score in the top half of the frame. Youngblood, a .333 hitter, 1 home run and 9 runs driven in this year. First pitch from Wilson, up and in, ball 1.
You can't ask for a better guy to have at the plate if you're Manitoba. Not only for the redemption part of it, but Youngblood has seen the ball extremely well this entire game.
A single, a fly out, and has been hit by a pitch. Wilson's 1-0. Popped up foul. Into the bleachers it goes. And it drops a few rows below us into the seats.
Andres is ready for that one.
Surprised we didn't see him leap out of the booth.
I think he was ready to do so. He would have had to go over the music computer to get there.
Wilson trying to protect a 1-run lead for Washington. He stares at Blinn at second. And the 1-1 hits Daniel Youngblood. The North Stars cleanup man has now been hit by a pitch in consecutive at-bats, and it loads the bases for Manitoba. And their catcher, Cole Brodnansky, coming up. Jimmy Johnson comes out of the dugout, and I think that's going to be a quick hook for Levi Wilson. He signals with the right hand for Braden Lee Lejano, who will begin his trot in from right field. And boy, does he have a mess to clean up. Bases full. 1 out in the 8th, and the Blue Sox clinging on to a mere 1-run lead when we return. It's the 6'5" righty Braden Lee Lejano into the game for the Blue Sox. Set to face Cole Brodnansky with the bases full and 1 out. His team up 3-2. Corners in, middle infield back, and the first pitch to Brodnansky. Driven deep to left field. Going back, Smith. Still going back. Is it fair? It is. It's gone. Go ahead. Grand slam for Cole Brodnansky. On the first pitch he sees from Braden Lee Lejano. The North Stars catapult themselves in front. Now leading 6-3. The third home run of the season for Brodnansky, and none could be bigger. An eighth inning go-ahead grand slam from the North Stars catcher Cole Brodnansky. And in a game in which they never led prior, they're now in front by 3, 6-3. It was 86 miles an hour off the bat, 362 feet of carry. The only question was, it going to stay inside the foul pole, and it did. First pitch, fastball in there for a called strike to Taz Worrell. And what a second half in postseason Brodnansky has had offensively. Worrell pops up the 0-1, left side of the infield. Laura on the edge of the grass. Now backpedals for a stride and makes the catch for out number 2.
You talk about being up to the task for Cole Brodnansky. I mean, talk about ambushing Lee Lejano right out of the bullpen on the first pitch fastball. Just unbelievable.
We were scoreless through 6, and now it's a 6-3 game in the 8th. First pitch fastball called to strike on the inner half to Yen-Heng Wu. What a turnaround for Manitoba. Every time that the Sox have taken a lead, they've had an answer, and this time in grand slam fashion. 0-1 shot up the middle. Tough hop behind second base. Goes off of Morales and into left center field. It's going to be a single for Yen-Heng Wu. And we hope that Morales is all right.
And that was a rocket off the bat of Wu. We heard double crowd reactions. First with the ball scooting by Lee Lejano, and then, of course, kicking up and deflecting off of Morales.
So Wu aboard with 2 down for Xiaopin Ho, who prior to the Brodnansky grand slam had the biggest Manitoba hit, an RBI single in the 7th. He takes a fastball up and in. 6-3. The North Stars now leading. 1-0. Fastball in at the knees for a called strike. Braden Lee Lejano out of the pen, and as you said, Evan, was ambushed. Big swing and a miss at the breaking ball from Xiaopin Ho. He's now behind 1-2. There's a lefty up for the Blue Sox now. Shi Hao Tung. Lejano from the letters. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. And Xiaopin Ho goes down swinging to end the inning, but not before Cole Brodnansky. A go-ahead grand slam to put the North Stars in front 6-3. And just like that, they are 3 outs away from being crowned champions of the California Winter League. We'll be right back. Top of the 9th inning at Palm Springs Stadium, the North Stars 3 outs away from becoming champions. Braden Bonner on the mound, and he misses outside with a fastball to Malcolm Smith for ball 1. Going into the home 8th, Manitoba trailed 3-2. After Cole Brodnansky hit, that was no longer the fact. 1-0 fastball misses up 2-0. A go-ahead grand slam for the North Stars catcher off the foul pole down the left field line. And it's the difference at the moment. A 6-3 lead for Manitoba as Bonner works from the belt. His 2-0 runs upstairs 3-0. No lead is safe, as we've seen all CWL season. No lead has been safe in this game. After 6 scoreless innings from both starters, 2 runs in the top of the 7th for the Sox, 2 in the bottom of the 7th for the Stars, 1 in the 8th for the Sox, and 4 in the 8th for the Stars. And the 3-0 fastball misses in. It's a 4-pitch leadoff walk to Malcolm Smith, and not the start to the inning I'm sure Braden Bonner envisioned.
Certainly not what you want to do. I know you were down for a long time during that big 4-run 8th inning, but you need to lock things back in, attack Killian Bloat. You're dealing with the bottom third of the lineup, especially leading by 3 runs. You can afford to be even more aggressive in the strike zone than usual.
Quickly out of the dugout is Brian Kloppe to chat with Bonner as Jerry Davis begins to throw for Manitoba. The Sox need 3 runs to extend this. They've manufactured 3 runs on just 2 hits.
You know, Jacob, it would feel weird if Jerry Davis in uniform did not pitch in a game.
If you didn't show me the numbers, I'd assume he was the appearance leader. But he's ready now behind Bonner, it appears. Killian Bloat digs in. Been on base his last 2 times up, once via an error, once via the walk. And the first pitch from Bonner, fastball on the outside corner, called strike 1. Infield plays him to pull. The outfield relatively straight away, although Panzetta shaded a step or 2 to the right side of second. Bonner peeks over to first. Now the 0-1. Swung on and missed. Strike 2.
Bonner needs to go right back to that same fastball. He got a very late swing from Bloat. Fire it at him again and see if he can make that adjustment.
Bonner ahead in the count, 0-2. He kicks and delivers, and Bloat fouls one back and out of play, staying alive here in the 9th. The wind has started to move out towards center fields, but in more of a swirling fashion. Short lead for Malcolm Smith as Wu holds him on. Bonner's next 0-2. Hit on the ground to the right side. Past the diving Blinn and into right center field. Smith going first to third. Youngblood's throw goes into second. And the first 2 men have reached for the Blue Sox, and that brings the tying run to the plate in the form of Taylor Maldonado.
You can't ask for a better piece of hitting if you're Killian Bloat. You got a fastball, frankly, on an 0-2 count that caught way too much of the plate from Bonner. He went with it and got a lot on that ball. I was surprised to see it scoop past Denver Blinn. Like, he did all he could to try to dive to get it, but too much speed on that ground ball.
Just a good piece of hitting late in the game, protecting with 2 strikes. We saw the North Stars catcher be their hero to date. Will the Sox catcher Taylor Maldonado play that now? He stands in as the tying run. First pitch swinging. Skies it. Into right center field. Panzetta over into the gap. He'll make the catch. Tagging from third is Smith. He comes in to score as Panzetta's throw goes to second. 1 out of the inning, but 1 run home as well. It's now a 6-4 ball game.
It just seems appropriate, Jacob, that it comes down to this. The tying run now coming to the plate in a classic in our championship game with 2 underdogs. It just feels right.
It's the top of the order for Washington. James Cross, the batter, was hit by a pitch to start the game, 0 for 3 since. Lefty hitter with a cherry red barreled bat. Bonner ready from the belt. First pitch, driven into right center field, over the head of Panzetta, still going back. It's going to hop up against the wall. Panzetta's got it on the track, around third, digging for home, and scoring is Killian Bloat. James Cross into second as the tying run. And the Sox answering in the 9th. They've made it a 1-run ball game.
What has just happened at Palm Springs Stadium? I mean, James Cross, he got that ball right in his nitro zone, down a little bit towards the inside part of the plate, especially for a lefty. And you talk about putting a charge into a ball in the right center field.
Brian Kloppy's going to stay with Bonner on the mound. Tying run on second, 1 out. Michael Bucchino, the batter. 6-5. The North Stars leading here in the 9th. Cross with good speed off a second. The first pitch to Bucchino. Slider on the outside corner. Called for strike 1. There's action in both bullpens. Yuto Odaki, if things go on, would pitch for the Blue Sox, it appears. Jerry Davis looks warm for the North Stars. Bonner's 0-1. Same pitch, same result. A called strike on the outside corner.
Bucchino's going to have to make that adjustment. I know he doesn't like getting those called strikes against him, but especially if Bonner goes back out there again, you have to be ready to protect.
The North Stars trying to hold on to a 1-run lead. 2 runs home in the inning already for the Blue Sox. Bonner checks Cross. 0-2, hit on the ground to second. Tough hop, Blinn stays with it. Sidearm toss to first, gets Bucchino, but Cross moves up 90 feet closer to home, now at third. You must now guard against anything that could hop away from Brodnansky. As the Blue Sox are down to their final life, it's Mitch Morales, who has been one of, if not their top hitter all year long, has not found success today. 0 for 4, he's hit into 2 double plays, but can change the narrative here. 6-5, Manitoba leading, and they're 1 out away from being champions. The Blue Sox 1 run away from extending this ball game. Bonner from the first base side of the rubber. Fastball swung on and missed for strike 1. The North Stars, the only team that would have had to win 4 straight to become champions. They're an out away from doing so. They took down the Rush, the Grizzly, and the Bombers for this battle with the Blue Sox. Long set for Bonner, the 0-1. Misses up and away as the count evens up at a ball and a strike. One and one the count to Morales. Crowds the plate in the righty box. Cross leads in foul territory off third. The 1-1 off the end of the bat, and it's fouled away as Morales barely gets a piece. Washington down to their final strike. Braden Bonner trying to close things out on a North Stars championship. The crowd into it. Bonner ready from the belt. The 1-2 pitch. Hit deep to right field. Youngblood moving toward the line. He's over. He makes the catch, and that's the ball game. The Manitoba North Stars align the entire postseason and come away as the 2023 California Winter League champions. It was pitching early. It was offense late. Cole Brodnansky with the go-ahead grand slam in the 8th. Bonner gives up 2 in the 9th, but just enough to hold on in a 6-5 victory for the Manitoba North Stars over the Washington Blue Sox. And a congratulations to our 2023 California Winter League champions, the Manitoba North Stars.
Jacob, you could not have written this any better. 2 underdog teams, 2 teams that had their struggles all season, 2 teams that certain people may have doubted along the way. They gave us an instant classic of a championship game to finish us off. Coming down to the last batter in the 9th, it's just unbelievable. Not a better way to finish off a baseball season in February.
What a run. The 2 lowest seeds in their respective divisions get hot come postseason time for a date in the championship. And it's the North Stars who prevail with a 6-5 victory, 4 wins in 4 days. And the North Stars are champions. Here comes the water cooler. They get manager Brian Kloppe, who I'm sure is all joy now with the title and the trophy coming to him and the North Stars. Make sure you stay tuned. We've got our celebration going on right now out on the field with your 2023 CWL champion Manitoba North Stars. Their 6-5 win over the Blue Sox. They get their shirts, they get their champagne, and let the party begin.
They've certainly earned it. And for a young manager in Brian Kloppe, all 4 of these games, he pulled all the right strings. It seemed like every time he made a move to the bullpen, he has some high leverage situations to work with too. He just hit all the right buttons. Just a composed guy, keeping his guys in order. Never any panic from that North Star dugout.
There was a plan going into this postseason that needed to work to perfection, he said, for them to be champions. They got a complete game in the first round of the playoffs from Trey Morrill. They got a complete game in round 2 by Brett Taucher. Braden Quisenberry and Tristan Cummings combined for 7 innings in the semifinal, and then a full team effort here in the championship. Trey Morrill, Ubaldo Romo, Chi Xuan Zhang, and Braden Bonner in the pitching effort. And then offensively, we will never forget here in Palm Springs the go-ahead grand slam off the bat of Cole Brodnansky in the bottom of the 8th to put the North Stars in front. They needed every bit of that lead in the 9th. A credit to the Washington Blue Sox as well. A tremendous effort coming from the 4 seed, winning 2 games in the playoffs, leading the majority of the way here, but just came up short. But a credit to them as well. A tremendous season for Washington under J.J. Johnson. The Manitoba North Stars are your 2023 California Winter League champions.
That's a picture of a team that the California Winter League is not going to forget for a long time, if ever.
An instant classic between the North Stars and the Blue Sox. And now there's manager Brian Kloppe with a bit of his champagne pop, revenge on the 26 men that doused him on the final out. What a tremendous season we had. And we're sorry to see it end, but what fantastic fashion it did. Us employees and interns, we reported down here to Southern California on January 9th. The players arrived 2 weeks later, and our games kicked off on the 26th of January. We played every day but 2, 3, sometimes 4 games a day to get to this postseason. Great games throughout the postseason. From the play-in to the championship, teams competed. A credit to every single one of these players that came out and competed here in the California Winter League this year. Many of them getting first or second or even third opportunities to go to professional baseball coming up this spring, whether it be in the Pioneer League, the Frontier League, the Atlantic League, or the American Association. A big thank you to all of the coaches who came out to work with these players, work with us, and show everyone the ropes on what it means to be a professional and work in professional baseball. Too many of them to name, but a thank you to all of them. To the staff here at the California Winter League, to the front office, Justin, Alex, Tyler, Starkey, Andrew Starkey for giving us all the opportunity to come down here. And, of course, to our tremendous intern crew we had down here as well. Am I forgetting anyone, Evan?
I think you laid it out really, really nicely, Jacob. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't thank the front office staff enough for bringing me back for a second season after the summer. Jacob, I learned a plethora of stuff from you. I couldn't even begin to put into words. It's been a pleasure with you and Joey and the entire group. It's been a grind all season long. Very, very busy each day. Well worth it. See all the players, the managers, just the whole bit.
Our intern staff deserves one more shout out, letting you know their names. Joey Senna, Cordell Henriquez, MJ Moore, Hayden Stam, John Parker, Anthony Nash, Andres Tejeda, Adrian Ponce, Cordell Henriquez. We got Cordell down there. The Manitoba North Stars are your 2023 champions. For my partner, Evan Schmeiser, I'm Jacob Kronberg. Thank you so much for spending this CWL season with us from wherever you are around the world. We hope to see you back here next year. I'm Jacob Kronberg, signing off for the final time this year on the California Winter League YouTube.